Chapter 2, Nature's Great Remedy. It is no wonder that man in his natural state instinctively recognized in water a natural friend and helper. The instinct regarding water runs back much further than man, back through the lower animals, back through the lower forms, back through the plant life, back through the elementary forms of life such as the amoeba, monera, and other tiny forms in the slime of the ocean bed, back to the very beginnings of organic life itself. Science tells us that organic life originated in water, and has always shown signs of its place of birth. About 8/10 of our physical body is made up of water, and the very cells composing the body are virtually and actually marine organisms, tiny aquatic animals, in fact capable of existence only when surrounded by a saline solution of water. Is it any wonder then that the instinct for water lies at the very foundations of our subconscious life, and manifests in our conscious wants? And the important part played by water in our physiological mechanism is none the less remarkable. Physiology teaches us that over 1½ pints of water passes from the body in the shape of perspiration every 24 hours, and that during the same time nearly 3 pints of water are passed off in the shape of urine, 2 quarts and over in all. The important juices of the body are composed of fluids, of which water is the basis. Not only is the blood, which is the very essence of physical life, composed largely of water, but also the bile, the gastric juices, the pancreatic fluid, and the several other juices of the digestive organs, as well as the saliva, are fluids of which water is the basis. Man can go without food for a number of days, but deprive him of water, and he perishes quickly. Water is one of the most urgently demanded of nature's supplies, and next to air is the one upon which the continuance of life is based. And yet how many people, or rather, how few of them have given to this subject the consideration justly due it, and how few have made an intelligent use of water a matter of habit in their daily lives. We give to the study of irrigation of the soil much care, time and thought, for we recognize that that is a subject upon which depends the welfare of our crops, and consequently our material welfare. But to the irrigation of the body, we give little or no thought, and are apt to dismiss the subject as of little importance. And, more than this, we take the greatest care to see that our domestic animals are kept supplied with sufficient water to drink, and in which they may bathe. We recognize the natural wants of these animals, and yet we do not think of bestowing one fraction of the same thought upon the wants and requirements of our own bodies, which should be of at least as great importance to us as those of the domestic animals. It is true that in the state of nature, man was not so foolish. There he followed his natural instincts, and drank plenty of fresh water and washed himself in the stream, lake, or ocean, not because he had reasoned it out, but merely because he felt like it, which was the manifestation of his instinctive knowledge. But as civilization advanced, and man began to live away from nature, he began to neglect these instinctive cravings of his nature. It was too much trouble to attend to them, and much easier to put them off. In the country, however, where water is near at hand, there is not so much cause for complaint. If one has good water on the farm, or good springs scattered around near the fields, he will take the little trouble necessary to procure it, and will drink about as much as he needs. But in the large cities, where the water runs stale and warm through the faucets, and is consequently not so palatable, man will gradually get out of the habit of drinking normal amounts, and will lose his natural instincts and acquire a perverted second nature which enables him to go without water without feeling the distress which a natural water drinker would feel under the same circumstances. But nature does not forget, she remembers, and resents the fact that she is not being furnished the proper amount of fluids that she needs in order to carry on her wonderful work. She takes it out on the body, by allowing it to shrivel up, and exist in an abnormal, unhealthy condition. And these abnormal conditions are many. One is filled with surprise when he looks around and sees how many persons go through the day with a consumption of fluids far below the natural requirements. They take merely a sip or two of water, during the day, and their consumption of fluids consists almost altogether of what they obtain in coffee or tea, at meal times, and perhaps a glass of soda, water, pop, beer, etc. During the day, they turn their backs upon nature's fount of life. Is it any wonder that so many people are suffering with constipation and congested colons? Is it any wonder that their bowels are clogged up with the refuse matter of their systems, when they do not irrigate the canals with sufficient water to carry away the debris. No wonder their bowels are like dry sewers, caked with the foul matter which has been deposited in them as the waste products of the system. Women particularly are the principal offenders in this respect, although it is difficult to say just why. These water-famished people are troubled not only with constipation, but their livers and kidneys do not work properly. Their blood supply is below the normal, and they exhibit a bloodless, anemic appearance, and tend to go into decline early in life. Others, from the same cause, go about with dry skin, showing seldom a trace of perspiration, pasty, sallow complexions, and a foul breath. Some of them resemble dried apples, and one instinctively wishes that they could be put into soap to make them plump out and look a little natural. And of course, all the other parts of the body, particularly the nerves, respond to these abnormal conditions, and give out warning signs. If you will check off the symptoms of the trouble arising from a deficient water supply, you will have a list of a majority of the more common diseases. The troubles arising from constipation, alone, will make quite a long list, and yet, constipation is due almost if not entirely to a lack of fluids, in one form or another, as we shall see as we proceed with this book. Man's body is a great water system, with pipes, large and small, running in all directions, designed for the passage of fluids from one part of the body to another, fluids of which water is the base. Remember, and there is only one way in which the supply of water naturally flows into the body: the alimentary canal, from which the water is absorbed and carried to all parts of the system, there to perform its wonderful work. Every organ of the body laves, bathes and lives in fluids, and without a proper supply they cannot function properly. Fluids dissolve the food and convert it into its various elements, that other fluids may carry it to the parts of the body where it nourishes and builds up the entire system, every cell demanding and receiving its share. Other fluids carry back the broken down tissue, and waste matter of the system, and expel it from the system by means of other fluids. It is all the work of fluids, you see. No matter what chemicals these fluids may carry, the fluid medium is necessary, and the work of nature cannot proceed without it. The medicinal effects of water are well known. Water acts as a tonic, when taken internally and externally. In fevers the effect of water is quite well known, and it forms a part of the intelligent therapy of the day, no matter what the past history of medicine has been. Cold water, scientifically administered as a drink, will reduce excessive heart action, while warm water will increase the heart's action. Water increases the secretion of the kidneys, and helps that organ to excrete and dispose of the waste matter coming its way. It also acts in a similar way on the other organs of excretion. Water is a splendid appetizer, administered properly, and at a right temperature. Hot water acts as a powerful stimulant, and also as an antiseptic. It also tends to rest the stomach, and as a sedative. In cases where a patient has lost a great deal of blood, by hemorrhage, physicians often inject a quantity of sterilized water, with a small amount of salt, into the circulation, which gives the heart something upon which to exercise itself, and which also takes up the weakened, and dying corpuscles clinging to the sides of the arteries and veins, giving them a fluid in which to live and move and work, and in other ways acting as a good substitute for the blood until the system is able to manufacture more. As to external application, the uses of water as a healing agent are most numerous. In this little book we shall have something to say about that side of the question, giving the reasons for each form of treatment, and the best methods with which to apply the treatment. We shall also tell you about flushing the sewers of the system, which alone are worthy of the careful thought and attention of every living person. We shall also have more to say regarding the use of water, in the way of drinking, so as to produce beneficial results. And, we shall have much to say regarding the use of water as a bathing material. All of these phases of the subject are interesting, and important, and we trust that each and every reader of this book will give to this subject the careful attention that it certainly deserves. Do not let the apparent simplicity of the thing cause you to discard it in favor of some more expensive, complicated and little understood method or form of treatment. Remember, that he who sticks close to Mother Nature will receive the benefit of the methods which formulated by those universal laws which underlie all of the wonderful work of the cosmos, organic and inorganic. Nature is the universal mother, the universal physician, the universal nurse. You will do well to study her methods,